helping to grow the tribe in great numbers and so on, and it doesn't go unappreciated. Believe me. Thank you very much for that. I just watched Dave Cullen's latest video. We'll win this in the end. I think it's his best video so far, and definitely the best one to send out to your normie or borderline normie friends to get them to, well, maybe not wake up, or at least to plant the seed in their minds. This is what this is about, planting seeds. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And it's remarkable how many of the seeds I've planted have actually come to fruition. And that's why I planted them, because, I told people, going right back a decade, when I first started talking publicly about the psychopathic control grid, it was to get people ready for the times that we're living in now. And the baton has been taken up by people like Dave and others who've taken it to the next level. And it's sort of like, it's not that I'm glad to see it all pan out, but I'm happy to see that lots of people are handling it a lot better than they would have, or would have, had they had stumbled into this bizarre world we live in today, had it not been for these videos and people like me have been out there telling you about it. It's good to see that, sanity has been saved in many people who were feeling alone or pulling their hair out. And I was just talking to someone on the internet there yesterday, and they made a point, a very good point.
It's not focusing very well, is
Someone
it?
said that the Biden chart of him winning on election night, with the sudden bizarre leap that came out of nowhere over Trump's counts, looked like the climate change graphs, where they show increased temperatures. And it just dawned on me, not only is it like the climate change graphs, it's also like the COVID graphs. And this is what we have now. We have a generation who've been brought up educated to believe statistical information has more validity than truth. So for that reason, a graph that's obviously flawed is always true because it comes from an official source. The graph has become almost like...
Get your scams off my computer, government. I'm not interested.
Media source. Any graph presented by them is sacrosanct in the eyes of the so-called educated today.
Is that a dog with a machete?
Are like religious scriptures that cannot be doubted or questioned. In fact, it's heresy within... And we see so many of these things. It's heresy to bring up the fact...
A pit bull with a machete.
The Biden vote suddenly took a bizarre jump during the night when Trump was clearly winning all states. It's heresy to extend Al Gore's hockey stick graph back to the medieval warming period and show that it was actually warmer in a time long before, when humans were around, long before mass industry and heavy agriculture. It's heresy to point out that if you put the true deaths of COVID next to, things like the negative infection, and show that there's no comparison between them, it's heresy. It's heresies.
Excuse me.
And these are the new heresies. You saw my video yesterday where I talked in Blog Room 313, where I talked about Origin of Alexandria, where the first proclamation was to develop a working text that would be the foundation of the Vatican, and it was about heresies, challenging heresies. Anything that isn't in the official script is heresy. And that's how educated people today are with graphs. They see these graphs and they see any question of these graphs as forms of heresy. Because once the graphs come from official sources, they're sacrosanct. They are biblical scripture to educated people. And this is the problem we have today.
So the mother and kids have got masks on,
There's even an article today,
and a woman without a mask comes over to help her. Well, she's picked up the wrong baby, hasn't she?
They're unemployable. They are absolutely unemployable.
The fuck?
And it's been a well-known secret for decades, not decades, but years now, within corporations, that they secretly don't like hiring people with PhDs and master's degrees anymore. It's because they can't think. And companies like PricewaterhouseCoopers will accept, even for top management positions, a high school diploma as being enough. And that's because they don't believe that
It's a lack of oxygen to her head or something.
The more educated you are,
Take your damn mask off, you stupid woman.
Polymath, what's happened with mainstream education is it's become highly specialised. And
Fancy picking up someone else's kid, because you can't recognise it.
Has led to people who can tell you there's 75 genders, but they wouldn't know which end of a screwdriver puts a screw on the wall. And that's just one analogy. They can't do other things. They can't think on the fly and so on, because they've held up their college professors, who are usually nut jobs, and Marxist nut jobs, as gods, that infallible gods. And their whole time in academia was to satisfy the high priest, the professor, that was overseeing their final exams and their papers. So that's what's driving a lot of this great reset thing that Dave talks about in this video. Educated idiots. Unfortunately, they don't make up the mass of the population, so we're lucky. But you see how the media operates. The RT here in Ireland will always have a professor or something on. Some of these people, if you read some of that pieces in the RT website, written by professors at University College Galway or University College Cork, they always go around the campuses and they pick out some lefty professor who writes about the world, and it's just the psychobabble word salad of a madman or a mad woman, and because they're a professor, it's the word of God, it's sacrosanct again. So watch that video by Dave and share it around. It's definitely his best one yet, because it kicks all the right buttons, but it also offers a way out of it. And this is a time that we know we're facing the adversary, we know what they're about, but we know how to also, what we have to do to undermine their plans. Now, the title of this video is the Prussians. Now, those of you who know that years ago I made a film called Prussia with Blood.
I want that toy, Roxy. Give me that toy. Give me that toy. Give me it. Yeah, I'll get this one then. I'll get that one then. Where's it gone? What's this? What? Where's that one gone? Where is it? Where's it gone? Give me that. I'll get the other toy then. Get this one. Oh, I'm going to have this one then. I'll have that one. You nearly knocked the camera out. Yeah, look at you all sausaged up. Hey, Roxy? Been on the old pig flesh, have you? Hey, now you're getting a bit... my shoulder just went crack. You've been on the sausages and you're all grrr now, aren't you? That's a happy growl, because the shekels ain't up. She's just all full of meat and all primeval. Is that a rat, is it? Is your bit of rotor rat or something? Or a mouse? Is it? Are you ragging it? Give me that toy. I'll have that one then. Give me that toy. Yeah. That's definitely a meat boost, isn't it? Ouch! That was my elbow going out of socket. Oh, you're putting a lot of effort into it today, Roxy. Right, I'll have your stick then. I'll have your plastic stick. Ooh. Ugh. Calm it down a little bit. smell pea.
purity of the stuff. And that was all developed in castles by Prussian aristocrats who infiltrated and taken over these movements.
Why can I smell pea, Roxy?
A very good description of the Prussian mindset is in the James Coburn movie made by Sam Peckinpah called Cross of Iron. One of the best war movies ever made. And it's told from the viewpoint of German soldiers on the Russian front and losing and having to sort of retreat back to Germany. And there's a scene in it where the actor David Warner, or Derek Warner, whatever his name is, he gives this speech of James Coburn. He says, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins or loses this war, or if the communists take over Russia. He'll still go back to his Prussian castle.
Must have come from you then. You been peeing on your toys or something? No, not that one. Maybe you got pea breath then. Hey, you been licking your wanny, have you?
The Prussians, when World War, they basically led that started World War II because they were involved on all sides. Now, when World War II ended, Prussia was dissolved by the Allies as a political entity. But the Prussian aristocrats still existed. They just didn't have their kingdom. Now, how Prussia came about was, Prussia is was a collection of duchies and small rubber baron kingdoms. That some of them were in the Balkan area, not set between sort of like Danzig and St. Petersburg.
I can't kick with that foot, so I'll have to flick it.
That were in central Germany.
If I kick it, I'm going to hurt my foot.
Region. And they were called Prussia, or were ethnically Prussian, or saw themselves.
Got it past her anyway.
They're very different than the rest of Germany. That's why so many Americans of German descent
Used to be quite good at football until I busted my ankle. But I was right-footed.
To get away from the Prussian control of Germany. They didn't like the Prussians either. Now, the Prussian is the stereotype of the German with no sense of humour, like a robot, the caricature you've seen through history. Now, we all know...
Get my toe underneath it and I just flick the ball with my toe instead of kicking it.
Sligo has a huge German expat population. And
I just can't fucking kick anything. If I kick it, it might snap my ankle. If I miss.
That's not everywhere, you know, but none of them fit the stereotype of the German hard robot. Those types do exist.
Get off.
No sense of humour, they're like robots. And that's the Prussian mentality. It's like a mind virus as much as it is a kind of an aristocratic thing or a culture. It's like a mind virus. Now, how it developed was, it's a very interesting story. Prussia, as I said, was basically a disunified scattering of rubber baron duchies and other smaller kingdoms around Germany, which is what Germany was before long for unification. There was something like 1,000 kingdoms or something in Germany. And an individual called Frederick the Great, or Frederick II, who was heir to the throne of Prussia, the old king. He was a homosexual and he had a relationship with his boyfriend, which was found out. The boyfriend and the father,
trick shot.
They wanted to take it over. And the father found out, and there was no way that a royalty was going to charge their own son with treason. You'd never see Prince Charles charged with Prince William with treason. So it wasn't to punish him. What Frederick the Great
Get off.
father did was he forced him to watch his boyfriend being beheaded in front of him. And he was beheaded, and there was like people described it as he was screaming my love," to each other. It's a very sad story, actually. Very sad story. Now, when the boyfriend was beheaded, Frederick the Great, people said he went into a kind, something that they would describe more than a nervous breakdown. He went into an almost psychedelic state, and shamanic state almost. And then he emerged out of his mental breakdown as a completely different human being. He was not the kind of artistic bohemian dandy that he had been when he was young, he was just like his father, cold, hard, and businesslike. Now, eventually, when he took control of the Prussian monarchy, Frederick II set about expanding Prussia's dominance of Germany. Well, not only did he do that, but he also turned, within very little time, Prussia into the greatest empire, the world, greatest power of the world. Now, you ask people today about remember the great powers of the past. They talk about the French Empire, the German Empire, the British Empire, and so on.
You had enough, are you? Right, up in your chair then. Good girl.
The Russian Empire was the United
You've had your
States
little play, haven't you?
By the
That's it.
time
Lay down then. Let's listen to the last of this.
the undisputed power of Frederick the Great as a European
Bit of history.
leader was just stellar, to the point where every other royal family in Europe and in Germany wanted to interbreed with his royal family. Not just him, but I mean all his cousins and all everything else. So to the point where now you have a situation where every royal family in Europe is Prussian or Hessian. The Hessians were also interbred with the Prussian royal families. Like the Hessian family. Have you seen my video I made in Darmstadt in Germany? How closely linked that is to the British royal family. And they are one and the same. This is why the British royal family. This is why the royals of Europe became obsessed with Germans, interbreeding with them, because they saw something in Frederick II and his bloodline and his family that was special, and they had to have that blood inside them. This is why I had a situation where, Queen Victoria, at the time of World War I, when Britain was going to war against Germany, because of these pacts in Europe, so we all know now it's all about population reduction thing again, Prussian. See, Klaus Schwab's mentality is always there. It shows up now again in different ways, but it's always there. And they couldn't speak English. They didn't speak English in Buckingham Palace. They couldn't speak English in England. They were all Germans. They couldn't speak English. And or they weren't Germans. So anyway, the situation, what makes this really interesting is Frederick the Great and his successors implemented the world's first public education system.
Well, we have an history lesson then, Roxy.
The Prussian educational model. The Prussian educational model basically it was designed to make children into robots, and this is why things like arithmetic,
The Royals and Prussians
were
and
very central to it.
turning little children into robots.
See how they run. Even music was taught that way. Though a female, everything was a lesson. Everything was a lesson.
There you go, educating your children.
Repetitive singing comes from.
If you don't educate them, someone else is putting the wrong shit in their heads and teaching them to be scared. So when they come out to play a game of football in the park, they're scared of blades of grass, literally. Saw it with my own eyes.
1 times 2 is 2. And then that was it's marching in your brain.
Yeah, brainwashing the children before harvesting them later in life.
Done for the reason to get them into the army.
Yep.
Now, the Prussian army had such
School, army, church, corporation deal. Crass.
At one point, a Prussian soldier, rank and file soldier, was more likely to be killed